Hello everybody, it's Tino once again, and welcome to my channel. For those of you who are new, this is Christian Theology channel where we discuss all things theology, but in this particular series I'll be focusing on the YouVersion's Bible verses of the day, and I'll be sharing some of my thoughts and then action steps around that. So what's the verse of the day for today? So the verse of the day is Romans 12 verse 2, and it says, "Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good, which is pleasing, and which is perfect." What an awesome verse to ponder on today. And so my thoughts around this verse is, first of all, point number one, don't copy the behavior of the world. So what does that mean? Who is the world? That's a very good question. Now, when we think about world, we're not talking necessarily about the earth. We're not talking about earth, but the world system. There is a world order. There is a worldly system that looks something like this. The worldly system is all about having the most power, having the most political power, having the most financial power, having the most anything power orientated. That's what the world chases after. That's the worldly system, right? So you will do anything to become rich, to become whatever. So that's the worldly system. So it's the love of power, right? The love not just of power, but the love of money, as we know, is the root to all evil. And then also the love of lust. Okay. So those are the three things that are basically what the world order, world system functions on. There's a particular system that the world functions on and chases after, right? Only to find out that those things never satisfy ultimately. It never satisfies. And so the verse is encouraging us not to follow that pattern, to follow after the worldly system pattern, but to allow God to transform us into a new person by changing the way we think. So the first point that I take away from this is, do not copy the worldly system, don't follow that pattern. And then point number two is but to allow God to transform you, right, by changing the way you think. So how should we now start to think? We should start to think like God. We need to start to think like Jesus, the way he thought, the way he did things. So we need to follow his pattern. We need to follow the way of love, the way of compassion, the way of holiness. And holiness I like to call healthiness, because ultimately that's what you will experience. You will experience health for your body. And so we know that it's all about, the second point is all about what we think, right? And then also finally, then we will know, as we follow Jesus' pattern, we will know and we will learn by experience. As we are putting these things into practice, we will learn by experience what God's will is, which is good, which is pleasing and perfect. And it's an awesome feeling to experience and to know that this is what the will of God is, because there will be a time, and as Christians we're not perfect, and so there will be a time that we drift from that path, and then we will, because of our experience, to know what God's will is, it won't feel natural to us, and so we would feel almost like, oh, this is not me, I need to get back onto the path. And that's a good thing, because the more we practice God's will, the more we will see how satisfying God's will is, and to the glory of God, of course, and the more we will be able to discern what is not God's will. So what are the action steps then? Let's challenge one another, you and me. Let's challenge one another, to live for God, to change the way we think, to live like Jesus, to do things, because we all want a world where all of us can live in and where all of us can flourish in. And so come on, let us do that. Let us reflect on this verse together. And you know what? May God bless you.